And then episode 2, all right, we live. And then episode 2 was my brother. So it was like, I got, my man had a store. So little by little, bro. And now, you know, I got you, I got Mike. I just did Dread Star. So it's like,
right.
You could see how it's moving.
Yes.
Because the consistency is everything. If I wouldn't have took that year break, I probably would have been at like 75, you know what I'm saying? But that feeling that you get, you know, you start to overthink.
Right.
Like, fuck this shit. We ain't getting no bread.
Right.
So, you know, I came back with a vengeance, you know what I mean? Because after that, I came back episode 14, and now I'm at, like, this is going to be like 52, I think. So
Fire.
You just got to, I don't know.
It just starts to add up. Like, it just, and one thing, you can't force it either. Like, so if you wasn't feeling it, it was good that you stepped away for a little bit and then came back.
A lot of people say that.
Yeah.
And they also be like, yo, stop booking. Like, if you need a 2 weeks off, if you got 3 or 4 in the chamber, take 2-3 weeks off. Just for, you know, for you, just chill, your family, whatever.
Yeah, just cover the month. That's all. If you drop weekly, just cover the month. However that looks.
Fire. But we are back, ladies and gentlemen, live with At 5. This episode was fire for me because when you on the radar and you link up with people that's been doing this before you and they do it effortless and they do it 7 years, my brother?
7 years.
7 years. He got his own for 7 years. Conversation with Zoe, but we're going to call him Zoe.
Cool.
My brother, thank you for coming, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for linking up. As soon as we linked up, you threw me in the community chat. Why are you so humble? Why are you so sharing that way? Because that's not normal. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people want to be, nah, I got this. This is my shit. You know what I'm saying? But we met at 12:01. At 12:05, I was in the community chat.
Right.
What's that about?
I think for me, I love community. I love building with my peers. And for me, it's super important there's enough space for all of us. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's no scarcity of it. I have an abundance mindset where I think that there's enough for all of us. So it's like if you say there's not enough money for us all, that's not true. There's plenty of money for us all. And there's a lane for everybody. So I figured why not create a space where people can connect with each other.
No, it's beautiful. Because I think the females, I forgot that there's so many pods in there, bro.
Right, yeah.
And everyone is like, yo, check this out. And I'm like, yo, this is fire. Like the first day, I was like, yo, this is fire.
Right.
And I was like, I just wanted to thank you face to face. And also, I got a 13-year-old boy.
Right.
The fact that what you do is for the kids, and even your logo, there's a kid in the picture.
Yeah, my son Hendrix. Shout out to Hendrix.
Look, I didn't even know that. Yeah. I was with Al yesterday, Hip Hop Food Truck, and I put my sticker on it, and I'm like, yo, why Zoe get 2 stickers? And we were just talking shit or whatever. But shout out to Al, Hip Hop Food Truck. But thank you, brother, because I got a 13-year-old, man, and I'd be scared to death, bro. Like my anxiety be through the roof just for him to know, because he goes to school at Hunts Point. Obviously Hunts Point is not what it used to be when we was younger, but it's still like, we got the location. You know, he walks his little friend girl, I don't like saying girlfriend, friend girl to school, you know what I mean? And home. And it's like, bro, I'm watching the location. If I forget, then I'm on it. So, people like you, bro, that are looking out for our kids and just putting that positive energy out there, bro. Because, even in 2018, he was way younger back then, but when I saw the video with Junior, that shit broke my heart, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't look at that shit. I saw it once and I was good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I know that had something to do with why you started your joint.
Yeah, I was actually in Austria when that happened. So that was super devastating, because I was out the country when it happened. I'm a big advocate for the Bronx. I really love the Bronx. So to see something like that happen so viciously, so violently to such a young kid, you know what I'm saying? It just broke my heart, and part of the reason why I started Conversation with Zoe was to bring some balance to the content. World Star, Vine, it was 9-10-second fights. That's all we looking at. But I know that education is fly. All the things that I believe in. I was an athlete, so I figured I just want to stick to that because that's how I survived the Bronx. I stood out the way, mind my business, and stood on what I stood on, and people respected that. You know what I'm saying? You can't go out there and act because you can end up getting caught up.
Speaking of born and raised, we're going to get right into that. Straight boogie down all day?
That's facts. South Bronx, Brook Ave.
Brook Ave.
Facts.
So you grew up in the Brook, Cypress.
Uh-huh.
For our out-of-towners, Brooklyn, Queens, Florida, whoever's watching that's not from the Bronx, I just said Hunts Point. these neighborhoods that I'm naming are word. They still, it could still happen, but from our time, Hunts Point, Watson, Cypress Brook, St. Anne's, where he's from, it was real. You could really, really get caught up in the drug dealing, the stray bullets. It was bad. So, born and raised, let's talk about Brook Ave.
Yeah, man, Brook Ave was a wild place, you know what I'm saying? And I just kind of caught on to a lot of things young. And for me, my whole life has been about what makes me feel comfortable. If I don't feel comfortable next to somebody, I won't stand next to you. If I don't like your energy, I'm gonna get away from you. So my whole message to the youth is just like stand on what you stand on, because I've lived it. Like everything I'm saying is a lived experience, right? I have gang family members. Some of my best friends are in gangs, but that's their vibe. Right, and I respect them for everything that they are and any kind of organization they're a part of. But if I never felt comfortable doing it and I never fully believed it, then I didn't do it. And that's hard, right? Because everybody's going left and you trying to go right, So I just over time I just grew the confidence to just believe in what I believed in.
Yeah, because they call you a sucker.
That's a fact. All that, everything under the sun. PUWSY, you saw, you butt, you a burger, all that, like all kind of stuff. But the tables do turn because now I'm big bro. I go to the same block I grew up on and I'm big bro now. But people I used to look up to, people that were revered. But, you just got to let life take its course. And the unfortunate thing about the youth is that they're not living long enough to see the life takes its course. Like things do get better. You have more control and more say over your life as you get older, but you just got to live a little longer.
No, that is super facts, because I was born in 75, so I think I'm older than you. So I'm not sure. I don't like pointing out age, but like I'm about to be 50, and so when I was 10, that's 85. 90, bro, that was the wildest.
Yeah,
that was the wildest times. You know what I'm saying? And what protected me, and I say this in a lot of interviews, even when he interviewed me, my neighborhood, thank God, was family oriented.
Right.
The neighbors will snitch on you. Your son was over there, your son was over here, or they'll grab you by the neck, bring you to your mom. So those days, that's how I grew up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The neighborhood protecting you.
Right.
There was no Bloods, no Crips at that time. So, but there was, I think the beginning, or maybe I think they came later on, like the Nietas and the Land Kings.
Yeah.
But bro, I've never wanted, like you said, that wasn't my thing.
It wasn't
my crew from my block. That was my gang.
Right.
We grew up together. We didn't have a name or nothing, but that was my brothers. That's who I loved. The OGs made sure that when shit was gonna pop over other blocks, yo, go upstairs.
Right.
So, and that's now. I don't think we got OGs, bro.
Nah, they too young. It's whoever got the biggest bag. That's the OG, or that's the head honcho. Whoever has the most access to money and has the most power and influence.
The car,
that's what
whoever.
It's about. Yeah.
Whoever get the car first.
Whoever gets the car first. It's all a facade. But my block definitely protected me as well. I had a lot of great people, and I also stood out the way. I also, you got to see your first person run to that backpack to know, like, oh, when he's running to the backpack, that means I gotta leave, right? Like hard foul at the basketball court, things of that nature. You seen dudes get jumped in. I done seen dudes get jumped in, so I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't give off that energy every day. So that would be out of my character to act like that every day, because that's not who I am.
No, God bless, man. And what was your relationship with your parents? You had both and they protected you?
Yeah, I had both of my parents. I've recently lost my mother in January.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So that's been like the majority of 2025 for me. She was in hospice through the end of 24, and she passed January 17th of 2025. So me and my mom had a pretty tough relationship, tough woman. Not an easy person to be with, but super loving. She loves you in your own way. Seeing who I've become is because of her sacrifices. So as an adult and as a parent, I see a lot of her decisions a little differently. I think emotionally is where things could have been better. Every boy wants to be in love with his mother, like you be a mama's boy, and that was never really my reality. But my dad, that was my dog. Like that's where the balance came from. Like I was super close to my dad. He's an amazing man. It's interesting because a lot of my siblings have, every sibling has a different dynamic with a parent. So my older brothers, my dad was a lot younger Like the stories that they talking about when he was wild, it's the 80s. He's 21, got 4 kids. He's wilding, right? But you talking about 10 years later, I'm born, he's 31, he's married. So it's just two different.
Slowed down.
Yeah, he slowed down, you feel me?
Yeah.
But I'm not here to invalidate the experiences. It's just that I had the married, settled down version of him, and you had the wild dude in the 80s in the cruise ship, still still wilding out. You know what I'm saying? So I love my dad and I miss him a lot.
Well, my daughter, when I had my son, that's what we was talking about before the cameras came on. She resented me because now I'm 35 when I had my son, and she saw the grown up dad.
Right.
And she checked me. She told my wife like, yo, who the fuck is this nigga? Like, where does dad come from? And we had a conversation, and I said, I was 20. You know what I mean? And I was cabbing. I was little hustling here and there, chasing skirts and shit. So when it was my weekend, I pick up and take it to mom's.
Right.
I'm out.
Right.
Excuse me. So I never, it took a while for me to chill, sit down. Okay. And actually, so, when I had my son, and that was what episode 1 was about. Like we spoke about that, she was over it already, but I just had to bring that up because there's a lot of fathers and daughters and mothers and sons. Like in your case, you know what I'm saying? We don't know, why your mom's was that way. Maybe because her mom's was that way. Right. So it just trickles down. Right. But like I said, sorry for your loss. Tell us about how baseball saved your life, because I seen that in more than one interview when I'm following you, and it shocked the shit out of me because even to this day, the amount of black athletes in baseball is rare.
Right.
I think. When I looked it up the other day, it was like 60 starting players, or no, 60 active black players on the roster. That's 60. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think 30 are in the minors.
Right.
So we're talking about rounded off to 100. That's crazy.
Yep.
So how you doing what you're doing? Let's start with your career first. Let's not talk about the kids that you got now. But you growing up, did you see a lot of black? Because I know Spanish is crazy.
I didn't see a lot of black players. My best friend, my neighbor, Lawrence, he was black. My family's from Honduras, so I grew up in a Spanish household. So I grew up in a predominantly black, Dominican, Puerto Rican neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So baseball was my first love and something that my dad introduced me to. So I'm born 92, and the Yankees are on fire.
Hell
right?
Yeah.
So, and then, every like immigrant families find their guy. And Bernie was that guy. He's Puerto Rican, he's darker, you feel me? So my dad was like, yo, that's our guy, right?
That's our guy.
And that's how we mutually bonded over baseball. So baseball was the thing that helped me stay out the way. It kept me busy, especially as I got better. Like, I sucked at the beginning. I was the right fielder, I'm not gonna lie. In Little League, I'm coming home, making up stats. You walk past the drug dealers and I had 4 hits today. How many? 4 doubles. Like, we used to put dirt on my pants. That was all cap, you feel me? But as I got better and I met the right coaches and coaches starting to invest in me, like, that changed everything. That's why I go so hard for the youth, because I had a lot of people that's not my family, not blood, not related to me, nothing, that really went out of their way to see me succeed. And that's how we got to the high levels we got.
No, talk about because you got better, and you just said you was in a different country.
I was in Austria.
You went pro, right?
Pro, yeah.
So pro, there's pro US pro, and that's different pro, or pro?
Yeah,
is
it's
pro?
like the Euro, it's like the Euro League, like in basketball.
So it's still pro.
Mm-hmm. They have a Euro League in baseball.
How was that over there?
It was amazing. It was a lot of growth. You know what I'm saying? Because I had to, when you really by yourself, like, that's really by yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you're in a different country by yourself.
Yeah, like, I'm right next to Germany. You know what I'm saying? So that right there is learning to be in solitude. You know what I'm saying? And really checking with that inner peace. And when things got quiet, that's how I got creative. Like, it wasn't a depression. It wasn't homesick. It was like, I'm going to start a podcast, right? Like, and I didn't know it was a podcast at first. I was just trying to put out positive content on my YouTube channel, right? Yeah. And then if you look at the beginning of my YouTube channel, that's all my recruiting videos. So that was all my baseball stuff that I was putting. That's the link that I was sending coaches overseas.
Oh, okay.
Right? So that's how that all started. But yeah, college ain't go to, so high school is the man. I ended up going to boarding school. I got a scholarship, championship, first team all conference. Everything was great. I think college was more of a humbling experience when God needed really me to find myself. and financially get my shit together, focus on my academics, because my dad died my senior year of college. So had I had the same mindset in high school, and he was it would have tore my, there would be none of this today, I promise you. So,
if he would have passed away
I was too reliant on him. Like
Oh.
I was a little, not a brat, but you know, he did well for himself. I had expensive taste. Like we was good. Like I just had to ask him, and I got it. And I was also a pretty good athlete, so I had a lot of good things going for myself. But I think when God gives you that nudge, and I think I felt the nudge pretty hard, like, because he got sick my freshman year, and everything kind of went downhill. Then you go home, there's no Christmas. And then, so you got to find your way. That's why I always tell people joke about, like, I was selling nutcrackers out of necessity. Like, I was trying to make money, you feel me?
Trying
like,
to make it happen.
Hell yeah. I ain't had a heart to sell drugs, feel me?
100%.
But this nutcracker thing was the wave. And I had Connecticut on smash, feel me? So once again, doing things that you got to get in where you fit in.
100%.
So I don't smoke. I've never smoked. So how am I gonna sell you weed?
Yeah.
It's gas. You smell it. It's gas. You know what I mean? I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I got to give somebody a sample. Yo, what's up? Yeah, that's that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I bet it's gonna sell.
I ain't got time for that
Nah,
shit.
your room smells.
Yeah,
you got random room checks. Like the fruit punch in the fridge is the fruit punch. You know what I'm saying? Until you drink it. You know what I'm saying?
So you made it happen.
I made it happen.
But no, man, that's and the way you describing things right now, bro. Like a lot of people don't even like know what that feels like. You know what I'm saying? Because I lost my dad like 3 years ago, right? But he didn't raise me. He was a piece of shit. So, but I will say this: just a human in you, because you had an amazing dad. So I can't even compare that. But the human in me still felt bad about it. I didn't cry or nothing. Like I wasn't torn up about it. But the human is like, that's your dad. Like, so I still said a prayer. I still, to this day, you know, I look through pictures and it bothers me.
Right.
But it's like I try to balance the because it's not hate no more. Hate is when you're a kid, you know, once you're a man and you got your own kids, you know what? I'm just change the cycle. My daughter loves me. My son loves me. So I changed that whole, what he did, there was 5 of us.
Right.
So like you said, they were going crazy back then, you know what I'm saying? But he didn't raise none of us. So when he passed away, bro, I think my sister and my brother's the only one that went to Puerto Rico. Well, my sister lives in Puerto Rico. My brother from here, the only one that flew out there.
Right.
I didn't make time. I was like, I'm at work. I really didn't give a shit, bro. And it sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But you know, God bless you for you know, like I said, sorry you lost your parents, but what they gave you, you know, what your dad was, you know, like you said, that relationship, that's a beautiful thing, man. So you know, always hold on to that. Let's get into the teaching, because how do we're gonna talk about the kids you got now, but let's go to the teaching first. How did you get into teaching? So
I've always had a love for education. You know, I love school, perfect attendance. I was always a great student. I would say my only rough patch was transitioning from public school to Catholic school. Like,
oh wow!
Public school in the 90s was wild. You know
Hell
what I'm
yeah!
saying? And then you go to Catholic school with the sisters and the brothers, and I'm like, damn, like,
and it was
this
all
is
boys?
crazy. And no, it was co-ed.
Oh okay.
My Ojalos High School was all boys. My high school that I went to, but that's when I found myself as a better student, honor roll, and things started going well for myself. So when I started my organization and my nonprofit, I just wanted something more centered around education. And Slice of Excellence, we trade report cards for pizza.
That's fire, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
Yeah.
Yo, because my son had the same thing, like you said. My son had because I mentioned, I know you said it around COVID. That was school. So the virtue. So like, I was working overnight back then, so I was able to open the door. Come on, wake up. So and then I see him like, come on. But so there's a fire. Whatever, have you thought about that? Kudos, because that's fire, bro.
Yeah, COVID. I needed to get the kids on Zoom.
Bro, they didn't want to
motivate them. You know what I'm saying? Something to look forward to at the end of the week. You know what I'm saying? So the pizza was there, and now we host pizza parties in public schools across New York City. So every month for perfect attendance, and every 3 months quarterly for the report cards.
That's fire.
You know, so I just wanted, like, there's a bunch of sports programs already, right? There's nobody really highlighting or incentivizing education and attendance, right? The first step to greatness is showing up.
Hell yeah.
So I just wanted to be more tailored about that, and I've always loved to learn. Like, I'm still read books. I still educate myself. So I was like, let me just go become a teacher. You know what I'm saying? And I did that, and I think I was a good teacher, but the setting at that charter school was a little crazy.
Yeah.
And then I've circled back. I'm a dean at a high school now in Dykeman, and I'm where I belong. I love the kids. I'm where I'm supposed to be.
What's the difference?
I don't teach. I'm just disciplinary, school culture, community events, and things of that nature.
No, I know what the dean is, but
Right.
how do you go from teacher to because the dean was the one, like you said, because my last name was Ayala. Ayala, where you going? And he know I don't belong in the hallway.
Right.
He knows my schedule. So he's like,
Right.
where you going? Oh, I'm going. Get your ass to class. So I know what he does, but
Right.
how do you go as far as degrees are concerned? How do
Right.
you go from teacher to dean? Is it the same thing?
So it's not the same thing. So in charter school, you only need a bachelor's,
Okay.
right? You don't really need a master's, right? Or the teacher certification,
Yeah.
right? It helps you get more money,
Yeah.
but you don't need it. Like they'll hire you,
Okay.
right? So then I went into construction, right, as a project manager, and was still growing my organization. And when I wanted to go back to education, I pretty much utilized all the relationships I had through Slice of Excellence to get to the school. So I have a good friend that was able to connect me with the school. They were looking for a dean. I got into the DOE as a community coordinator, but they gave me the dean title. And that's how I got my foot in the door.
Fire. And they're just running away with it now.
Running away with it.
What do you feel about the Trump DOE? Like he wants to tear it down and then rebuild it. Because I got a friend. He's a teacher, and he was on his page one day. He was like, yeah, don't agree with what Trump is saying, but y'all not in this with us. No, these kids can't read. These kids don't come to school. So, what does that mean when he says, do you agree with that, first of all, to tear it down and bring it back up? Or just fix it what it is now? Because it's weird. I'm not there, so I don't know.
Right. It's a lot to unpack. The standards do have to go up. Coming from corporate America, your what do you call it? Your bonuses and things of that nature, that's based off performance. Now, teaching and education in the public school system is not based off mastery, right? If you send your kid to karate, you expect him to break some blocks and be able to defend himself.
Yeah.
And if he go to karate 10 weeks, can't fight, then what happened?
Yeah.
Right? I just gave you a couple $1,000 for him to still run. You know what I'm saying? He ain't changed. And there are kids that can't read, right? There's the No Child Left Behind rule or law, whatever it is, right? So I witness it in multiple different fields, not in schools, not just mine, where teachers ain't teaching, right? Like, it's not based off every child understands what I taught them and knows how to tell me back what I taught them. Right? There's no mastery there, right? No offense. Principals, right? You still get paid the big bucks and your school sucks. How is that? You know what I'm saying? How is it that it's a failing district, but yet you still make $200,000 a year and nobody says nothing?
There's no punishment. There's no
nothing. So there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of things that we gotta raise. It's also the household. Like it's a plethora of things that we gotta get together. You feel me? But overall, we gotta Joe Clark this shit. You feel me? Like we gotta lean on me and where's Coach Carter and all of them? Like we do need tough love because we growing up in tough neighborhoods, and we not. For me, what hurts is that I feel like we not setting them. And I'm in a high school, and I feel like we're not really preparing them for the next step because after this is real life. Like, once you walk out that door, 18, 19, you're an adult. You get credit cards, you get a whole bunch of stuff coming out your way. And I don't feel like we're really, getting them ready for success.
And that's what the guy I'm talking about, his name, he's a comedian, but he teaches. And he said the same exact thing. He was like, this is the warm-up. Mm-hmm. He was like, these 12 years, that's the warm-up. You know what I'm saying? Because then, you shouldn't take a break. You should go straight into college and get ready for real life. But like you said, if the household is in shambles, no one's checking on you, no one's making sure you slept, no one's making sure you ate. If you're in the game all day, your parents is and it don't got to be bad. It don't got to be crackheads. It don't got to be none of that. It could be your dad's works overnight, mom got 9 to 5, and mom's gonna crash because her body's tired by 10. So now you up till 2.
Right.
No one's checking on you.
No.
So you said it's definitely teamwork, household, and then you get to school late,
Right.
You're exhausted. You ain't trying to hear what this teacher's talking about.
Right.
So imagine how much of that is going on.
Right.
So I want to dig in more into the pizza. Was it because they weren't producing? Like what made you?
I sucked. Like I
you
was
sucked.
I was a first time teacher. I was figuring it out, and my numbers was trash. So I just needed to get something to get them more involved, and I could step it up. And all my numbers shot through the roof. So sometimes you have to be able to look at yourself, right? Because it may be you, right? You can't always blame the kids, right? And it's like I won my first baseball championship with the kids in the fall league, and I call it gentle coaching. I'm not as hard as them and I was, but I had to change a little bit about my approach in order to have more success with them because it's a different generation, right? I got to meet them where they're at, right? Not everybody's going to give in to, the hard-nosed coach, right? But it's a balance of both, right? It's finding ways to approach you about your mistakes instead of just crashing out and screaming all day, right? Like that becomes a little too much, especially when your passion and energy is not being matched. You look like the asshole. So I just toned it down. I got my notebook. I'm writing things down. And after the game, we're going to discuss per situation. But also, it's learning who accepts what and when, right? So some players, you could talk to them in that moment. Some you got to call. I call my players after the game sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's a more receptive time for them to talk. So it's being who you need to be for everybody individually.
And that worked out. So the pizza thing, that was because you was trash.
Yeah,
and for you to admit that is real.
Yeah, I was trash. They told me my numbers was, because it's a very data-driven school.
Yeah.
So once again, right, they told me like, yo, bro, what's up here? What's going on, right? The data looks crazy.
Yeah.
So that was my way of like randomly like, yo, highest test score Friday gets pizza. And boom, it happened. A kid named Abel, he's like, yo, Mr. B, you could post my picture in the chat. I put it in the Zoom chat, and everything changed. And through the grace of God, I give public donations, corporate donations, and I just make it all happen. I got some Snipes partnerships. We do stuff with Up NYC. I know they hate it when I mention them both, but it's all love. It's for me, I don't care. It's for the kids. Like, did we win or did we lose? And we won. That's it.
No, that's fire. So let's elaborate more with the baseball. So when did that start? That started with the first school? You was always doing the baseball thing in school?
So after I graduated college, so I got a summer job coaching baseball. I was in college.
Okay.
And then when I graduated college, I just went into coaching full time. So I went to grad school and failed out. And that was a whole crazy year at City College. I should have took a break because my dad just passed. So I should have took a break, got myself together and went back. Yeah. But I kind of went, trying to make him proud. And it didn't work out, but I did learn a lot about myself in that year. And then coaching full time. So then that was my thing. Always involved in the youth somehow. So then the sports thing is kind of cool, but I wanted to have a greater impact through the education route, right? Like kids need to know like sports is cool, but pick up that book as well. So when you come up with something like Slice of Excellence, it's something to empower the youth, right? Sometimes we come from a place where it's like, what's the catch? Like and with me, there's no strings attached. I just want to see you be a good person. And that's it.
No, that's fire. So I'm trying to get the timeline here. What's Austria, and then what's the
right?
What college?
So college is 2011 to 2015.
Okay.
Right, I went to Post University, Division II school in Connecticut. I graduated from there in 2015. I go to City College in 2016. That's where I failed out. Crazy year, not bad. I failed out by 3 points, so that was kind of trash.
Yeah.
I went to DC that summer. Right, so I took a bet on myself, went to this internship in DC, and I worked in the first 3K class. Right, that's why they have Universal 3K now, but that was the first program in DC. Yeah. And then from there, went back home, started coaching full time again. Won Coach of the Year in 2017. Lived in the Hamptons, coaching baseball, but throughout that whole time, shout out to Angel Reyes. That's my heart, it's my brother. He played for the Colorado Rockies. And he was one of the head coaches at the Bulldogs.
Okay.
And he was like, yo, bro, like, you kind of too young to be coaching. Like, you 23, 24. Like, what are you doing?
You still got some swings left.
Yeah, hell yeah. So he's like, yo, let's get up, let's link up before work, and let's start getting after it, right? I met another coworker who, shout out to Albert. He runs Indie Baseball, that organization. And he ends up going to play baseball in Spain. So I'm like, how'd you do that? He's like, baseball jobs overseas. I'm like, for real? Like, he's like, make a profile. So I made a profile. And then I just started getting my my videos together. And the crazy thing about me is I have 0 college stats, bro.
Wow.
0.
So you was focused on, you wasn't an athlete in college. In
I
Connecticut,
ain't play.
in the Connecticut, you wasn't.
I was on the team 4 years, ain't play.
Oh, you was on right on the bench.
On the bench, dog.
Why? Everybody was better than you?
He wasn't fucking with me.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Coach was a racist. I had 2 knee surgeries. I bounced back from both. My only really shining moment in college was fall ball, and I hit like 600. So I did my thing. I even wrote down all my stats, like how good I did that fall. No alcohol, no partying, straight baseball. And that the life lesson is that you could do everything right and still come up short. But I know I did everything I had to do on my end. I was top 5 on the team in GPA, right? I was one of the best athletes there, but I just never got my opportunity. But I stuck it through for me. And
so, okay, wait.
yeah, it's crazy.
No, because you are way too fucking nice, bro. Like, how do you... God bless you, because anybody else would have crashed out on. And
you got to get
like
rid
in
of,
the movies, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Motherfuckers start throwing shit. Like, how do you sit for 4 years and just show up and just?
So freshman year, he redshirted me, so he didn't say that. Like,
what that mean for the people?
That means you got to sit out. That means you don't lose a year eligibility sitting out because they automatically sat you out. But what's crazy about that is I could have went D1 and sat. Because that was straight up. Like, yo, go to Siena, go to UConn, sit out. All right, cool. That's what you agreed on. But you told me I was going to come here and play. So that's why I came here. So cool. I got there and I got redshirted. And it's crazy how I found out because it was a text. And he actually didn't have my number saved. He thought he was talking to somebody else. So when I told him I had the money for the Florida trip, he's like, oh, yeah, you can hold on to it. You're not playing this year. And just like that, flat out through a text, I found out I got redshirted. So I was like, all right, cool. So in my mind, go hard to get ready for next year. Cool. I lost weight, in shape, played summer baseball, got right, boom, knee surgery in October. So I was out that year. I came back in the spring. He told me just to stay away from the team for the year. Like, yo, I see you in the fall. That same summer, I tore my patella tendon in my knee playing basketball in the summer. So I missed my junior fall, but I was ready for spring and just never got that opportunity. So senior year, I was like, yo, I'm all in. Right?
No injuries.
No injuries. I'm in great shape. I met, shout out to Kevin Young, my baseball trainer, right? I got my swing down pack. I'm not drinking. I'm totally focused.
Yeah.
And it just never happened. My father passed away. I still went to practice that night. Like, just still trying to prove it, bro. And it just never happened, bro. He wasn't. So, Coach Ricker, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? That's where we at.
Coach Ricker, fuck you, bro.
That's a fact.
Let's move on for the reason how we met and how we linking up. My brother, like I said in the beginning, thank you, man, because this podcast world is you know, I'm not gonna say it's not a competitive thing, because why?
Right.
Like, we both interviewed a week apart. He interviewed product from La Bodega. A week later, I came. If you look at those interviews, they are totally different.
Right.
That's his lane. My lane is my lane. And whoever, let's say someone interviews him, it could, bro, everyone, even though, like you said, there's enough for everybody. Right. If you are making money, God bless you. You know, if you're not making money, keep going. You know what I'm saying? The sponsors will come. The opportunities will come. You know what I'm saying? You know, getting monetized, all that shit counts. But like I said in the beginning, thank you, because as soon as we linked up, you know, you put me in that community. But let's go back to how you was in Austria and you started the podcast. So let's start from episode 1, and then how you just kept flowing it.
Right. So I'm the king of the sidewalks, right? Like, everybody claims the streets and I claim the sidewalks. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what it's like out there, bro. Like, it could end nasty for you. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot. I've experienced a lot. A lot has happened to me at a young age. I've been robbed, jumped, knife to my neck, all kind of stuff. So it's like, I just wanted to see life and content that's something that was more on the positive end, right? Something that was more uplifting, something that was raw and honest, right? Where I talk about my decisions to stay out the streets and my choices, right? I talked about respecting my parents. I talked about God. I talked about faith. I talked about sports. So I was just living through everything that I was going through and putting it on a few-minute video, right? I talk about childhood trauma. I got an episode called Therapy is Gangster, right? So anything I experienced and I lived through that I know could help you, I'm going to talk about it. Whatever it is, financial. Then you see me start getting into financial literacy. So that's where Earn Your Leisure. I've interviewed Troy, Master Investor. That's through like reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, now being crazy about stocks, and now telling y'all about stocks, right? So any positive game that I could give, I'm going to tell y'all. Any piece of information that is given to me, I'm going to tell you. Hence the podcast chat, right? We could all be interconnecting with each other, networking, making things happen, sharing platforms. There's a lot of interviews that have happened because of me. Right? Because I've connected the dots. Like, yo, I vouch for that person. Yo, I did that interview. Yo, I would check it out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not no hater. You feel me? If you support sucker shit, that makes you a sucker too. So you got to stay sucker free.
Nah, that's like I would this brother here, this is his place.
Right.
He got
Beautiful
a podcast.
place, by the way.
Thank you. He, me and him linked up and we doing something good. Like I think we did like 18 episodes together. You know what I'm saying? He's behind the camera. I ain't got shit. I don't got a light. I ain't got a camera. Right. I ain't got none of that shit, and I don't want it.
Me neither. I just show up. You know what I'm saying?
I heard you in an interview like that. I rent a spot downtown.
Yeah, I don't got time for that. I got time to show up, prepare, all the behind the scenes, but
and that is game for young podcasters, old whoever. If you are gonna invest in these cameras, you gotta have memory chips. You gotta upgrade your shit. They're gonna get hot. A lot of shit. Man, he deals with it, but he'll be like, damn, this shit. I'm like, all right, don't figure it out, bro. Because I don't give a shit.
Right.
My job is to show up, like you said.
Right. Shout out to my cousin. He just started a podcast.
Yeah.
About HR and things of that nature, and resume building. Mm-hmm. And I told him, like, bro, I dare you do 10 episodes and then go from there. Like, you don't got to go rent a studio and do all of that. Like, just do it. Like, I'm a person that I believe in just going and figuring it out along the way, right? There's no such thing as a perfect moment, right? So for me, I'd rather us have nine months of doing something than 9 months of doing nothing, right? Because along the way, you're going to figure it out. So if you want to start a podcast, go ahead. I had an iPhone 7. That's how I started.
Yep.
Right?
I think mine was 10.
And I used to do it one take. So if I mess up, I just start over, but that's why they were so short. And then I was like, all right, bet. Let me make sure I don't ramble too much. And then I cut it. Boom, boom. So that's why all my first episodes were like between 2 and 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Then you see me 7 minutes, then 10 minutes. Then you see me start to grow. And then interviewing, I think I'm just a natural conversationalist. And I just started interviewing with people that are interesting to me. No offense to nobody. But something that you can give information to somebody else. Like, what can you say to the youth? And that's why I asked everybody, what's your message to your younger self? And what's your message to the youth? Right? Every guest gets that question at the end.
That's fire. Bro, and you know what? Even Gary Vee says it, bro. Turn the camera on.
Turn the camera on.
Talk about your day.
Right.
Whatever you going through, you just got fired, talk about that shit.
Right.
Somebody else just got fired somewhere, and they go, whatever. So my first 12 was on the phone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think I did 13, and like 2 just like I think I did 14 altogether on the phone. And then I got into that, I guess we want to call it brain podcast fart or whatever you want to call it. I just said fuck this shit. And when I came back to not this one, another studio with cameras and lights. Right. Now, like you said, now this is different. Right. In your house, you chilling. We got shorts, Bro, now I'm like, oh shit. So homeboy, it wasn't him, it was another guy. He was like, all right, you ready? And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, hell fucking no, I'm not ready. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing right now. Right. Bro, you know who peeped game? I did that episode. It came out cool. It was about a guy that did 32 years in jail. He came home, he got married. So it was a positive episode. Right. We had to talk about the bullshit, but it ended, well. It was a good story. And I, showed my moms and shit. And the next day, my mom was like, you look, moms don't play. You look nervous. Right. Why you stuttering? Why you slurring your words? You keep saying and I'm like, oh shit, moms ain't fucking around. Right. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna use that. Fuck it, mom's gonna be the critique. Right. And by it took me about 6 or 7 for her to be like, you're getting better. Right. And bro, like you said, just fucking do it, bro. Right. And then people started telling me, yo, you good at that shit. How you get good at interviewing? Because I just like talking shit. Right. And I'm interviewing people that are doing things that I really want to know about. Right. So my questions come from a place of, yo, how do you Like, I really want to know, how do you make clothes? How do you DJ? You know, how are you a comedian? You don't get nervous going up there? Like, so, you know, I think that comes naturally. Like you said, we just like talking shit and talking to people. But keep going, bro, because like I said, man, even today, like, I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to do an interview. And then I got to be on an interview tomorrow, on another podcast tomorrow, and then I got to shoot content at night. So I want to ask you, bro, you 280, something like that.
Right.
How the fuck, bro? I'm at 50 and I'm fucking tired as fuck.
I don't really do nothing. So all my time is accounted for. I don't be on the block. I don't be bullshitting. Like, I just focus on work, my kids, and this, and baseball, right? So I just keep my top 5 priorities the main thing, and I don't deviate from that. So with going out to the bars and the clubs and all of that, I don't do that. I get to kind of do that with this when I go to like the industry events. Like, that's kind of like a night out for me sometimes, right? Because I don't got to run around and do interviews.
No, we networking.
Right, we're networking. We socializing and things of that nature. So for me, I just focus on these things. I organize myself. I know when my shoots are, and I'm gonna see. I play on a softball team, so that's how I see the homies. I'm gonna see y'all at softball, or we're gonna play in a basketball league in the winter. Find things to see them in those settings, but every week is about work, podcast, baseball, and my family. That's it. I just focus on those things. Everything else, I've already done it.
And like you said, if you need a break, take a break.
Right.
If you got the month covered, or you know, okay, I got time because these 2 episodes are gonna come out. Let me take this weekend off and, you know, get my mind right. Because if you put too much on your plate, and I do that sometimes.
Right.
And bro, I had like 4 in the clip last week, right? 2 weeks ago, I had like 4 or 5 in the clip. And I'm like, I got too many. Bro, I released all them bitches.
Right.
I don't give a fuck.
Right.
My mom's was like, because I do every Friday, that's when I drop, right?
Right.
So then I had one that I did on my phone, and they came out fucking pretty cool. I'm like, oh shit, the fucking iPhone is amazing. Right. And then I had La Bodega, which I didn't shoot with him. I shot with my man that he's like my mobile guy. Like,
Right.
I could be like, yo, let's go to fucking Germany. He'll be like, let's go.
Yeah.
But so I had all that, and I'm like, yo, I dropped 5 in 7 days. And I did it because nobody fucking does that shit.
Right.
Everybody's like, nah, once a week. And I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm breaking the rules. Take all that shit.
All that.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
It's different content. So who cares? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
But, you know, I need to learn, like you said, bro. I need to, like, not, and, like, my May is full. I got bookings for May. But what I'm, like, June, I haven't booked shit for June. Because now I'm like, you know, hold up. Take a breather.
Right.
Because it could be a lot.
Right.
So the way you know, thank you. I just met you and you like, yeah, this is way, and I'm taking advice. Like, yeah, breathe. If you got something in the clip, that's good. You know what I'm saying? And it just, you know, appreciate it. But like I said, bro, congratulations to 7 years, bro. That's, you know, and no breaks.
I wouldn't call them breaks. I think I was still kind of figuring it out.
Okay.
I would say since COVID, I really ran it up. Like, before COVID, I had 26 episodes, and then after COVID, that whole year, I think I did like 50-something episodes.
Yeah, you wild out.
And then when I started with the interviews, I think I'm at 232 now. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
That's a blessing, bro. And I'm not going to ask, but I just want to applaud you because your catalog is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I'm like, yo, how the fuck? And
I'll tell you exactly how everything happened.
All right, let's do it like this. The ones that I'm like, oh shit, how do I I'll be out.
Through like, his record label. So Atlantic Records reached out to me to do that interview for his album drop.
You see that? They don't fucking but that's
shit.
But that's different. That's just a blessing.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like that. Yeah. So I think her name is Zenobia, and she works for Atlantic Records, and she reached out to me.
No, but that's a beautiful thing because what I do is I'll DM, I'll email, like whatever it says to do, I'll do it.
Right.
Sometimes they reach out, sometimes they don't.
Right.
But you can't get discouraged. You know what I'm saying? I reached out to Alfredo because he got the book right now.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm waiting. Like, but you can't be scared. Just reach out, see what happens. Shoot your shot.
Facts.
With La Bodega, you know, I went there for a comedy show. I gave him my card. I said, yo, bro, I like what you got here. You know, when you get a chance, you know, holler at me, whatever. Bro, he hollered at me when he was on his press run.
Right.
So everything is timing, you know. Even we talked about the mayor, like the mayor's, that's fire.
Shout out to Monk, man. That's my brother, Iron Monk. So that's how that episode happened. So he was in a room where the mayor was frustrated about being on podcasts that he kept getting ambushed on and asking crazy questions and people popping up mid-interview and all of that. So he's like, yo, like, I got the perfect platform. None of that's going to happen. He's not going to ask you no salacious question, and you should go on conversation with Zoe. So it actually happened, and I knew it was real because his detail went to the building first. And the building, like the studio called me like, yo, who you interviewed today that they checking all the exits and windows and all of that. Yeah. And I was like, yo, this is really about to happen. That's when I knew, okay, it's really going to happen. You know
what's crazy? And let me know if you feel this. Like, when I got, big guests, well, big to me, you know what I'm saying? Right. If I'm a fan, and if they, yo, it's not real until you see them, bro.
That's a fact.
So I'm not bugging, right?
No, you're not bugging.
It's like, yo,
that shit happens. Cancellations, late, you get a little anxious, scheduling, moves off. But when they walk in the room, it's all real.
No, when I saw you, I'm like, yo, what's good? Because it ain't real until the motherfucker get here. You know what I mean? Right. But, like I said, bro, thank you for your time. But speaking of being tired, speaking of putting that work in, I saw one of your stories one day, and it was nighttime. And you was like, what's up, everybody? I went to work, took care of my kids, I did an interview, and I'm about to rap. And I'm like, yo, that's real shit, because I know what the fuck you talking about.
Yeah.
Like what made you, and you don't do it all the time,
right?
But I just caught it that one day. Like, what was that day? You probably remember, like, what was that day that you was like, yo, man, I got to do a video for this shit?
That day was a long day. I was at work. I dropped off my kids. I went to work. I picked them up. I got them ready for bed. I go to this industry party. So that video was just gratitude that the day was over. I made it home safe. Everything is good. But it's like so many things happen in that one day. So it's about maximizing in 24 hours. Like, we all get the same 24. It's about making the most of it.
Bro, and back to what you were saying, if I'm not, like with the La Bodega, when I go there,
shout out to Product, man.
All day. That's dope. He just came from Puerto Rico. He was doing good over there.
Yeah.
Bro, when I go there, it's for a comedy show. It's to network. It's to, have some drinks with my lady. You know what I'm saying? When I go to like the hood bars and shit, it's like Cheers. Right. I go where they know my name.
Right.
I'm not, oh, come on, babe, let's just go figure it out. No, we're going to have dinner, we're coming home.
Right.
I'll get a bottle, whatever, because, like you said, staying out the way, that's forever. That's at 20, stay out the way.
Right.
At 50, stay out the way. At 30, 40, bro, stay out the way, because it could just be bad luck. It could just be someone's having, and now with these crazies, they punching ladies in the face. You know what I'm saying? They might not test us because we got that, we got that hood face, but still, like, just stay out the way. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Like, you know what? Work, interviews, family. I had my granddaughter yesterday, all day. So, like you said, I'm gonna, listen to. I was already doing it, but it was like, nah, I need that interview. I need 2 interviews this weekend because, for what? Just take a breather. Right. So thanks for that. There's one thing you said in one of the interviews, and you was like, I ain't paying these motherfuckers. I like that. You was like $1,000 for what?
Yeah,
check my catalog.
Yeah, so that's people that you're not in tune, right? You kind of see somebody asking you for an interview, but you ain't do your homework on me, right? I've done my homework on you, and I could look up a picture, and I've interviewed everybody in that picture with you, right? You in the same stratosphere as them, right? Mm-hmm. So if you look into who I've interviewed and things of that nature, I think you would appreciate it more. I think if you take a second and watch a few clips, you can see, oh, that's where he's coming from. It's funny because I won't say his name, but he was like, yo, like, nah, all them people, you definitely paying people. And it's like, nah, because it's a friend of a friend. It's a referral. Dice Peso is how I got the Jim Jones interview, right? That's Jim's artist, and I'm mad cool with Dice, and he made that happen for me, right? Different relationships. I'm friends with almost all my guests now. So now it's getting cool with their publicists or managers and tapping in and going to these events, meeting people in person, right? Fresher, M. Dot, shout out to M. Dot, is how I met Fresher. And Fresher is how I interviewed 41, right? That's all through M. Dot, right? Him introducing me to their manager. Shout out to Touch. I interviewed Touch, and that's how I was able to bring 41 to prom. Right? So that's how I was able to leverage those relationships to now bring a cool artist to our high school prom.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm just the bridge between the industry and the youth, right? But not for you to do a record with me. You don't even got to do the podcast. If you come visit the kids at my school, I'm happy as hell, right? You do the podcast, that's a plus. But all I know is that we're going to connect through the podcast and do community work, or do some community work and connect to the podcast. And that's how it's going to go.
That's fire, bro. Because you don't, and you're not holding, you're not keeping none of this shit for yourself.
Nah, God gave it to me. For me, He's the plug for me. So I can't hold what I'm serving Him, and I don't need validation from nobody, because I know if I'm doing right, He's gonna continue to multiply everything.
You spiritual?
I am.
That's fire.
I am.
We had a matter of fact, it's coming out this Friday. It was a mental health episode. Because a lot of us ain't doing. You went through your dark time. I went through my dark times, because grief is mental health as well. A lot of people think that bro. My grandmother passed away. My grandmother and my uncle passed away almost 10 years ago. My mom cries to this day. Not every day,
right?
But there's times that I pull up, yo, what's good, ma? And I can see her face. What happened? No, I'm just thinking about my brother. And I'm like, yo, and I don't say shit. I'm not, I take care of her, but then I walk away like, that's fucking 10 years ago. Right. But it's still mental health. It's still anxiety. It's still depression. It's still everything. Right. So this episode that's dropping on Friday, bro, and Frances was a guest on it, because he touched on the spiritual part of it. And bro, it is, if you just listen to the words that come out of people's mouth, your mouth, if you see how people move, if you see how you move, bro, it's all spiritual. Yeah. It's all, if you're doing it the right way. If you're doing negative shit, then that's the devil. That's different. Right. Stay over there. We ain't doing that. Right. Positivity, bonding like this, this is all spiritual, and all your blessings for interviews or for the kids, bro, that's spiritual, and it's a beautiful thing. So what do you think you get that from?
Man, I prayed on it. I've worked for everything. Like, it's prayer and work ethic, right? If you pray while worry, if you worry while pray. And I just lean into my faith more. He's been all I had at some points, right? When I was in Austria, all I had was my faith. I ain't know nobody like that. My teammates wasn't rocking with me at first. You know what I'm saying? I go to the supermarket, I don't even know what shit says. You know what I'm saying? It's funny, I bought ground beef, and it was half pork and half beef. And I'm like, fuck is this? But that's what they do out there. But I should have looked at the fucking picture. Yeah. It looked like ground beef, so I bought ground beef. And cooking it, why it smell like that? But it was half pork, right? And that's what they do out there in Germany and all that. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, bet. I'm going to start looking at the fucking pictures. You know what I'm saying? While I'm in the supermarket, so... Man, God has shown me so much, and He's been with me through everything, bro. Through my knee surgeries, through really finding my relationship with God in my early 20s. And I just put God first. And that's when my life started to change, because I was never a really bad person, but I was making some negative decisions that, I just didn't feel fully myself, and I put God first, and everything changed. And I feel like when you go up in the Catholic Church and all of that, everything kind of flows through the priest. And then when you go to like Christian churches, they tell you have a direct connection to God yourself. Like, you don't got to come talk to me to talk to Him. You can talk to Him yourself. And then figuring that out, that I could just chop it up with God wherever I'm at, and we good, and we could get to, a common space, and that I just give it all to Him.
That's fire, because there's, bro, I never prayed, bro, ever, right? And then when I went through my, my anxiety moments, about 5 years ago, 4 years ago, because my daughter got pregnant, I wasn't feeling homeboy or whatever. There was a lot going on. That was around COVID time as well. There was a lot going on overseas, and I mentioned it in this interview that's coming up Friday. There was a lot going on with Russia going to where the fuck they went again? Ukraine? Ukraine. All that shit was fucking me up. Like, so this episode that's coming up Friday, you got to get in touch with, like, if you're scared, get in touch with God. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because fear is just not knowing what's going to happen. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's I'm telling you, I started praying about 4 or 5 years ago. And what I would say, I got my prayer down packed. And I say not the exact same thing, but thank you for getting me home safe. That's like, I start off with that. Right. Thank you for getting my kids home safe. Back to what I was saying with my son. He's 13. You know what I'm saying? My daughter's 29. She got her life and she's grown. But girls are different. Right. Like with these boys, should know. Back to what happened to Junior, bro. That could have been any one of our kids, bro. Yeah. So I pray. Thank you for getting my kids home safe. Thank you for my mom. I just grabbed and I just think, you know what I'm saying? Then I say amen, I go to bed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the spiritual part came from depression, it came from anxiety, it came from, not knowing what's going to happen. Right. When it comes to my family, when it comes to the world, when it comes to anything. So, that, and shame on me that it took me 40 years to figure it out. But hey, I'm here now. You know what I'm saying? I don't go to church, but like you said, I just do positive things. I try to be more spiritual, and, we're just going to figure it out. But before we get to the rapper questions, where do you see, because you were, like you said, you had 200 and change. Where do you want your podcast to go? Do you want to grow more?
It's definitely going to grow. My relationship's only getting bigger. The guests, that I'm not really worried about that. I'm more concerned on just having a consistent positive voice, continue to impact the youth. And I think the beautiful thing about not just the podcast, but I get to go do this for a living every day. Like, I'm at a high school with kids every single day. So I think I just want to continue to learn and grow, be a positive influence in their lives, and then also just keep a quality product out there. Like, the number of episodes don't really matter. I just want the quality to keep going. Like, quality guests, quality questions, and just keep impacting the community, bro. Because right now, it's I don't know how this summer's looking, bro. You feel me? Like, it's looking like a nasty summer. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I definitely want to keep my feet on the ground and double down on the positivity, right? Double down on the love. Probably do my first block party this summer. Like, I have some funding coming in from some council members, so really do some beautiful things in the community. We always do back to school haircuts every year. So just keep that going and keep the numbers going from there. So I figured the more I put myself out there, the more the kids win.
And the fact that you said, it's not about the guests, you know what I'm saying? Because I see you are a good example, because I do the same thing. Like, I might have Zoe, you know what I'm saying? Someone that is, big in this lane, right? Then I might have, I might go on someone's podcast that got 100 subscribers. Right. It doesn't matter.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Give back, or thank the people who come before you. But you could have artists. You could have an entrepreneur that no one ever heard of. As long as the message is positive,
right.
As long as you the viewers can see, and the views don't count either. It could be 100, it could be 1,000, whatever. Because it doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you said that, because that's how I look at it. Coming here every weekend, coming here twice a week sometimes, and me and him laugh about it. Because I'm like, bro, here we go again. As soon as I walk in, me and him just laugh. Because it's like, I just saw this motherfucker on Thursday.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, yo, you back, baby. Because it's like, the dedication is crazy.
Right.
But there's no check out of this. Like the way we work, the check. Right. We trying to build this, but the money, the views, the guests, all that is later. You know what I'm saying? Right. It comes if it comes. But I want to ask, you with the AI thing yet? The editing and you fuck with that yet?
Not really.
Oh, you like me? We're not even worried about this
not
shit.
Really. A little ChatGPT here and there, but not really.
No, some people they into that shit. Let's do the wrap-up questions. And you showed me today, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. You always late or you always on time?
I'm always on time.
Hell yeah. And he was on time.
Yeah, I hate being late.
Let's talk about the kids and the gangs, right? What, from your experience and trying to, like my son, bro, he's never even come to me with someone try to jump him in, none of that shit. Thank God. What's your message to the kids that maybe they don't have parents, maybe, they live with grandma and they just need to feel a part of something? What message would you give to the kids, boy and girl, that just not the way to go? Because we didn't do it. Why should they do it?
I would say you got to think about the people that love you. You may be pushing somebody out that really cares about you. And that person may not be a relative. It may be a neighbor. It may be a teacher or a coach. So if you got somebody that really cares about you wholeheartedly, think about that person, right? And really think twice before you go out there and do something, right? Because most of these things, 5 seconds could cost you 5 years, right? So think about the people that love you, because I know deep down inside, everybody got somebody that love them and care about them. It just may not be your family member. Right, and that hurts, right? That resentment that you have, that abandonment feeling that you have as a child is real, and I don't want to discredit that. But focus on somebody that loves you and think about them.
I don't know if anyone's ever done this, but I'm gonna do it to you. I'm gonna flip your 2 questions on you because I would love to hear. I would love to hear your answers because every time you ask it, I'm like, that was fire, and I already know it's coming. And when you did it to Product, bro, his answers was crazy.
Yeah,
I'm like, yo, this motherfucker's fucking brilliant. You know what I mean? But what would be your message to your younger self?
Man, smile a little more. Continue to listen to your parents. You know, continue to be a great listener. I've always been a great listener. Stay true to yourself and continue to stand on what you stand on. Like, you did it right. You know, you did it right and keep going that way. You know, if you didn't believe in it, you didn't stand by it, and whatever you love, stick to it because you're not hurting nobody. So I love school, I love baseball, and I love my friends. So I just hung out with people that were more like-minded. So, you know, find your tribe, find your people, and stick with them, and find God earlier too.
That's fire, bro. Message to the youth.
Man, read books, educate yourself, listen to your parents, respect yourself, respect others. Know that it may not be your time right now, but your time is coming. And just be kind to yourself. You know, many times we don't talk so highly to ourselves or about ourselves, but definitely be kind to yourself, give yourself grace, and just enjoy your time. If you 14, enjoy being 14, because you know once that's gone, it's gone, right? So enjoy your time, enjoy your youth, and do the right thing, even when nobody's looking.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Conversation with Zoe. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. This was a pleasure. Your humbling energy, bro, is just, I could feel it, man. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you walked in the room, you know, and that's spiritual, baby. So I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of your world now. You know what I'm saying? Because like I say, as soon as we met, boom, I was in the chat, baby. So I appreciate you, my brother.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you for doing this, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Peace.